I know.
Continued failure.
I know.
Chapter 9. Way down we go. Water slid down tiled glass in slow, controlled sheets. Not like rain. Like something being guided. A woman stepped out of the shower barefoot, bronze skin catching the light in soft gradients as moisture ran across her shoulders. Her hair dark, heavy, ferreted with cobalt and cerulean clung briefly before loosening into its natural fall. She didn't rush to dry off. Instead, she walked through her living space as if the water still belonged to her. A veil of lingering steam and glistening droplets like a mirage, obscuring what it was not meant to reveal. On the couch sat a man. Pale, almost incomplete at the edges, like his form had been partially negotiated into existence rather than fully built. He wore a black suit, crisp despite the environment, with a deep red shirt beneath it that felt slightly too saturated to be natural. He was watching an old screen. Physical. Not embedded. Not projected. Something intentionally archaic. The woman tuning in as she passed, admiring the ancient device. The ghostly man said, "I can't believe you have one of these." She moved toward the center of the room. "Is he still alive?" she asked. "Of course," he scoffed. But it came out uncertain. "He's changed more than I expected. Like, a lot." The woman stopped walking, the water still trailing from her skin shimmering. Thin strands detached from her body, gathering in the air above her palm. The liquid didn't behave like fluid anymore. It responded like something listening. It condensed, shifted shape, then softened into a hovering mist that held position without dispersing. "Do you train in your sleep too?" he asked. She watched for a moment, expression unreadable. On the screen behind the man, the image flickered faintly. Then the picture became almost unrecognizable. The woman spoke again, quieter. "That pressure." The man leaned back slightly. "I know. Containment failure," she said. The man's smile held venom. "I know." A silence settled between them, until the screen stabilized. The shifting orb above her hand began to move again. She hadn't realized she was holding her breath. Lowering her arm, the water followed, obedient, dispersing back into fine invisible vapor before touching the floor. "I'll be ready in an hour." The man nodded once. "See you in 4 hours." A pause. Then a small sphere of water smacked his face, evaporating before it could touch his suit. The woman already turned and walking to her room.
Back at the facility, Blank and Devon were cautiously making their way towards something. Hopefully the soldiers the old hag had told them about. Neither was sure how much damage Bea had endured. She was alive. Maybe she'd be fine with some time. Traveling in the state that she's in likely isn't doing her any favors. Doing nothing was also a risk. These thoughts danced around Blank's head constantly as they moved. There were no words spoken. The only sound accompanying them was that of the few functional low-lit lights along their path. That and a distant sound of trickling water within the walls. A few busted pipes, he supposed. There was also a kind of metallic scent in the air, entangled with other, more organic fragrances. Blood, no doubt. Blank had begun to familiarize himself with the smell of injured things since his journey began. Some were more settled than others, but no two had smelled exactly alike. The unknown pressure that had caused them so much trouble was also still present, and the further in they went, the thicker it became. Though it was dying off quickly, they'd eventually come to a dead end. A hefty metal door with seemingly no means of opening it. There were intricate designs all around it, gears, some kind of hydraulics. If it wasn't for the seams along its edge and the fact that it was placed at the end of the hall, the two may have not even considered this to be a door at all. Perhaps some kind of steampunk artwork. Blank took in a deep breath, looking at the door, down at Bea, then up at the door again. Just give me a sec," says Devon, facing his hand towards Blank. I took a half step back. As Devon closes his eyes, taking in deeper breaths, with each second, just moments before, I decided he couldn't wait anymore. An antler shaped like a scimitar, with small branches, grew from the side of his head. It looked damn painful. And if his face was anything to go by, it wasn't getting any easier as time went on. It probably took about 4 or 5 seconds in total. I know I'm not wanting to talk, but I could go without seeing that again. And then the maniac rips it out of his head. Because of course, why didn't I think of that? He takes only a moment to compose himself and looks over at me, breathing heavily. Undoubtedly due to giving birth via forehead, I gave him a nod, not knowing what else to fucking do. He turns back to the door, and then shit got weird. A small area around Devon warped slightly, and a certain pressure emitted from him, similar to what they all felt earlier. Not even a second later, Devon was on fire, and not just a few flames dancing around his body. You could no longer see the man. Jumping way back, I screamed, "Yo!" The fire only got hotter, but simultaneously localized itself around the antler in Devon's hand. As the heat increased, the flames compressed themselves until it covered the weapon like a glove, shining gold, almost too bright to look at. With 3 quick strikes, he cut into the door. Without realizing, I began to walk closer, mesmerized by the power and control on display. "Not yet," Devon grunts, breathing even heavier than before. The light grew even brighter. Again, 3 strikes along the jagged triangle. Then, again, after his last stroke, he lifted his leg for a front kick. Following his lead, I spun for a back kick, landing at the same time with a shout. The thick chunk of metal flew away from us, then hit the ground with a loud thunk. "Devon, be mindful of the edge yours." Without hesitation, we jumped through the door, all thoughts of stealth tossed aside with the door. They ran as fast as they could, doing his best to cause as little harm to the girl as he could. Blank fell behind, and Sweet Pea wouldn't leave his side. It wasn't long until they came across a large corridor. Metallic walls with splashes of what appeared to be oil spill-colored glass, with similarly colored pillars. The few that remained intact. Anyway, impossible to say what the room was designed for, as it was scarred with damage beyond any reasonable means of repair. Several chunks of material seemingly erased from existence in a perfectly spherical pattern along much of the walls, floor, and structures. You couldn't see the ceiling because of how high it was and the lack of illumination, but I wouldn't have been surprised if it was in a similar state. Much smaller bullet-sized indentations were also generously spread throughout the room, accompanied by a green ooze that seemed to have slightly melted some of the unknown material. The second most eye-catching detail were the long slashes that seemed to reach from one side of the room to the other. Each seemed to almost circle back around to its starting point. Though again, it was difficult to say without seeing the ceiling.
The first was a giant beast, a quarter the size of the room, embedded into the wall. Its head was shaped like a blunt pyramid, hanging lifelessly from its massive body. Vertical mouth agape. Its skin carried the dull sheen of metal, a strange grass blue color, broken by darker grayish blue markings that ran throughout its body like veins carved beneath the surface, faintly shimmering. Even in death, its sheer size was difficult to comprehend. I could tell the intense pressure was coming from this thing. A slash nearly bisected it from its shoulder to just past its abdomen, accompanied by countless other injuries. I had only stopped to admire the carnage for 2 seconds. Even that was too long. I could tell that sickly pressure was coming from the hopefully dead, whatever that was in the wall. I couldn't tell which direction Devon had gone. I wanted to shout his name, but just the thought of making a sound around that thing had me shooketh. I didn't know I could breathe in a whisper until then. I wouldn't worry too much about that old boy, a deep, rough, somewhat nasally voice said from behind me. I was hanging from the nearest pillar before he could finish, saying "I Sweet Pea," and all its vines rushed towards the newcomer in the shadows. But just before making contact, he disappeared. 3 heartbeats later, his upper body showed itself on the same pillar Blank hung from. Blank had his hand gouged into jagged parts of the material, defining purchase. But this guy, it was like he was able to swim through the stuff. Whoa, easy there, friend. Your friend said you had someone in need of aid, and I figured it'd be quicker for me to fetch you myself. Cade Morrow, just looking to help. The man had on dark brown leathers with black underneath, and some kind of rifle strapped to his back, with a hand awkwardly extended towards Blank. Blank, stop. Sweet Pea slammed into the same pillar. Jurassic Venus fly jaws an inch away from the man. Cade laughs nervously. Appreciate that. Blank, how are you doing that? Cade clears his throat. Right. Let's get you to the others, and the captain can answer some questions. We're gonna have to move quickly, so hold on. Cade reaches out a hand towards Blank, who then grabs the man's wrist after his tentacles secure him to the wall. Cade, good enough. Then slowly looks up at the drooling plant with its open maw, still closer than he'd like. Cade reaches towards the side of its face, stopping halfway. Blank nods towards Sweet Pea. The monster proceeds to close its mouth, with its tongue hanging out slightly. Cade placed his hand on Blank's shoulder, then closes his eyes for about 30 seconds. Then, with a look that said something smelled funny, said, Cade, you're going to have to relax. I'm totally the relaxedist, Blank said deadpan. Cade inhaled deeply. It's more difficult to move people, especially when a part of them is resisting. Things will make more sense once your memories are straightened out. Blank nods again while looking at B. I will do the most awful things to you if I regret this. They slowly start to sink into the pillar. Then faster than one could blink, they appeared in a different room. Strange markings within a circular pattern painted the ground, with smaller patterns on the sheet-like walls. Cade, watch your step. Might take a sec to get your bearings. He walked towards a slit in the fabric wall and held it open for his guests. Well, look what the cat. Help. Blank cut off the large man while presenting the lifeless girl in his arms. Geez, kid, you kiss your mother with those eyes? Cade, right. I thought I was going to turn to stone any minute. Would that really be a problem for you? The big guy said. A pressure began to pulse amidst Blank's body. Easy, friend, said a stocky young man with gruff features, sporting a similar uniform to the other two men, similarly torn and tattered. I'm Rourke Vance, captain of these here roughnecks. You met Cade, and this here is Big Bird. They're just a bit on edge. Let out a biting your dust a few dozen times. A bit more calm, and suddenly exhausted. Fine. Let out a sigh. Sweet pea, yeah? How do you know? The captain, confused, looked back and forth between Blank and the Venus fly kitten. Because Bird has been analyzing you since you popped up, and would have responded much differently if she was in critical state. I also gave you all a once-over, but my senses are nothing compared to his. Bird said in a whisper and yet somehow booming voice. Poor girl just suffered a bit of mana poisoning. Her body's already managed to heal the worst of it. Blank squinted at Bird. Okay, yeah, a bit is putting it a bit too lightly, but the important thing is she's out of the woods. Trevisiah here will walk you to the triage tent. You two can rest there while you recover. Your buddy's waiting for you. Trevisiah, come, it's just over there. You guys must have been pretty close to the battle to suffer such a backlash. Blank, Trevisia? Right? Trevisiah. Just Trevi is fine. Blank, when do you think she'll wake up? Trevisiah. Well, I wasn't invited to the party, but based on how far we are now and how much residual mana is flooding from that area, I'd say there was approximately a fuck ton of mana coming from that thing. And then, the Overseer? Guardian? I don't know, some cryptic shit like that. Anyway, you guys were pretty much right up in there. And if you're like most people who wake up in this place, you don't have the means to protect yourself from that kind of thing. I'd imagine a child even less so. She mumbles the last part seemingly to herself. Blank? He said she was fine. Was that just Trevi slowed her pace? Easy. I still have to hook her up and check her vitals. I don't have bird's eyes. But he wouldn't say she's good if he saw something concerning. She stops to look Blank in the eyes. You all could have died back then. Probably should have. When I saw your friend, I thought maybe they were just far enough away to only take a trivial amount of damage. I mean, yeah, he looked like crap, but nothing too alarming all considering. But then I overheard his story and how fast he was able to catch up with the guys just after the fight ended. So either your boy is as fast as lightning, or you were almost close enough to be involved in the fight yourselves, which you definitely would have died in. Blank, with a cold and lifeless expression, stares at her in silence. Trevi, sorry, I get that you felt it firsthand. Just wanted you to fully understand how lucky you are to be alive. Many of us didn't make it just due to being too close to that thing. It's unnatural even for this place. Blank, nods his head. Trevi, now that she's no longer feeling the enormous pressure from that thing, all that's really left to do is for her body to recover, which is extremely exhausting. At first, he probably just passed out from the pain. They continue walking. Trevi, now, her body is just being as efficient as possible, wasting no energy on anything else. She'll likely have a bit of bruising, externally and internally, but I doubt she'll be out of commission for too long. And right in here. Trevi holds open a tent flap. The entrance is nearly pitch black, with hints of purple, and a few light purple specks flowing through it. Trevi, don't worry, you're safe with us. B, now we're all gonna die. Trevi, did she? Blank passed out again. Trevi, well, damn. I'd almost mistake that expression for a smile. Blank, walking into the tent. Oh, I'm chock full of joy and whimsy. Section 7 inside, the tent was nothing like Blank expected. From the outside, it had looked like little more than another temporary shelter, but the moment he stepped through the entrance, the illusion disappeared. The space opened into something resembling a futuristic hospital lobby. Smooth metallic surfaces curved seamlessly into one another, broken up by sections of dark glass and pale, softly glowing panels. The lighting was low but deliberate, coming from thin strips embedded in the walls and ceiling, rather than any obvious fixtures. 5 separate rooms branched off from the main area, each divided by walls that seemed solid in one moment, and almost translucent in the next. There were no doors that Blank could recognize, only strange seams and markings that appeared to dictate where one space ended and another began. The markings were everywhere. Some were painted directly onto the floor in intricate circular patterns. Others climbed the walls in branching arrangements, almost like writing, though nothing about them resembled any language Blank knew. They were similar to the markings he'd seen in the other tent, but these were different, more angular, more deliberate. Some pulsed faintly beneath the surface, while others remained completely still. A few unfamiliar machines stood along the walls, their purpose impossible to determine. Some hummed quietly. Others displayed shifting symbols and lines of light that disappeared whenever Blank tried to focus on them. Despite the strange technology and unfamiliar symbols, there was something unmistakably clinical about the place. Clean, organized, safe, or at least safer than outside. Devon was sitting in one of the black, cozy chairs, leaning forward with his hands clasped, and a golden, three-armed man with large bat-like wings on his back was standing over him, holding a device to Devon's head. He immediately shoves the man away while getting to his feet. Sweet Pea walked in right after, making curious chirps. Trevi, oh, that waits outside. Sweet Pea makes a few less friendly noises. Trevi, ha, it can understand us. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Shoo now, out you go. Sweet starts to growl fiercely, growing in size, mouth dripping with something corrosive. Blank, no. Trevi, a bit pale in the face. See, there. Be a good thing and Blank, I was talking to you. This is mine. They are mine. You seem like nice enough people, but I don't know you. We won't be separating. Section 8. You sure you want to start making waves? Is that thing really worth losing your life? Another person in the clinic says. He was a lean man with a narrow face and tired eyes, his dark hair pulled back from his forehead. His uniform was cleaner than the others, though one sleeve had been torn and hastily repaired. He stood near one of the rooms with his arms crossed, watching Blank with the kind of expression that suggested he was already expecting trouble. Blank? Yeah. I don't really know much about this place or really anything, but you do. Blank starts walking towards the man speaking. You say you all came here to help people, and maybe you did, but I'm guessing you have loved ones at home, maybe in this building, maybe even in this room. The two of them are now face to face. Wouldn't it be nice to go home and see them again? Or is getting in my way really worth losing it all? Devon's center of gravity lowering, silently preparing for a fight. Trevi clears her throat and steps in between them. Now, that's enough of that. She takes a deep breath and lets it out slowly. Fine, but you do understand our concerns. You might not know much, but you have eyes. And that friend of yours looks mighty similar to fuckers outside. You know, the ones killing everything in sight. After a brief moment of silence, Blank noted, Devon, it did try to kill us when we first met, but we're good buddies now. Sweet Pea chirped proudly. Man, what a difference a day makes. Has it been a day? Why are there no clocks? Anyway, like you said, the monsters outside are killing everything indiscriminately, including each other from time to time. And wouldn't John know it, Sweetums has yet to kill any of us. Plus ours is a lot cuter, Blank the cutest. Trevi let out another sigh. Yeah. Tension starting to dissipate from the room. Devon, what took you so long? They said they'd only go look for you if I agreed to whatever this is. Blank, thank you, all of you. And I apologize for whatever threats he made prior to our arrival. Devon, you're one to talk. Speaking softly, we're yours now, huh? Blank, looking slightly embarrassed. I wouldn't call that a threat. Just airing out hypotheticals that I'm sure we were all thinking. Section 9 scoffing, the golden man waved it away. It's what we came here to do. Your boyfriend will be fine. Now it's your turn. You don't look too banged up, but you could have some internals that aren't healing properly. His eyes squint to a point. I'm not going to have to get rough, am I? And I'll be taking her, said Trevi, reaching towards B. Blank, doing his best impersonation of a statue. Doesn't budge while staring the woman down. Sweet Pea whines. Trevi, are you going to clean her up? Definitely ain't family, the gold guy says, shaking his head. For just a second, a look of hatred flashed on his face before his bedside manner replaced it. Deflated, Blank hands her over, and stands there staring at his empty arms, covered in mostly dried, mostly hers, blood. Hey, Trevi says with her warmest smile. You did good. Take a seat. We'll likely be moving soon. Get your checkup, and as much rest as you can. Blank slowly lets down his arms. Trevi nods. You did good. She turned and began walking towards one of the back rooms. Is room 3 clear? She shouts. They all are, said a voice from elsewhere. Trevi? Then why the hell was the boys' checkup done in the lobby? Goldie mumbled unintelligibly.